The Reformed Gamers is brought to you 100% independent and ad-free thanks to our dear patrons over on patreon.com/thereformedgamers. To get yourself sweet perks such as early access to all of our episodes, special episodes of the podcast, and more, head over to patreon.com/thereformedgamers today and consider lending support to the show. Without further ado, let's hop into the show. Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to episode 160 of The Reformed Gamers, the show all about theology, video games, reaching 5 years of podcasting, and anything else that we can think of. I'm your host, Logan.
I'm the prodigal son, Adam.
What?
And I am the often imitated, but never duplicated, Adam Skinner. I am here.
I straight up almost said I'm your 5-year-old host, Logan.
That would have worked.
It would have worked.
I talk like a 5-year-old sometimes. Actually, I think a 5-year-old can probably talk better
the
than me.
whole episode like Andy in The Office. Andy, sorry.
Logan, sorry, he didn't get a platinum. This has gone off the rails so quickly
already.
Man, that was cool. 3 minutes in. All right.
Yep. Didn't take long to do that. Anyway, dear listeners, hello and welcome. This is our 5-year celebration episode of TRG. If you got fun memories, fun stories, favorite topics, all that jazz, let us know on social media using the hashtag 5years of TRG. And it'll be fun to reminisce and see all those memories and things of that nature. We've got a jam-packed episode for you. We got Adam, as you heard, back on the show after what feels like forever and all that stuff. But he's back. Back in, I don't know what color shirt he's wearing, but he might be back in black. He might be back in red. He might be back in...
Back and more tired than ever. But we're back.
But he's back. He's back, and we got our editor Skinner on the show as well. So we're going to have some fun here on the show. But real quick before we get into things, just a little bit of housekeeping. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive in to the show. Join our Discord. Okay, if you're not in the Discord channel, look, Facebook is poo-poo. Get off Facebook. Join our Discord channel. Have a lot of fun. Type in ! Surprise me in the chat and see what the bot says to you. But seriously, join our Discord. Link is in your show notes and all that jazz. Join us over there. Have some fun. Also, follow us on Twitch because now that's a thing. YouTube, I'm back at it. YouTube got stupid. Now we're back on Twitch, and you can go follow us on there. And if you have a free Amazon Prime sub thing, you can use a Twitch Prime sub to sub to the channel. We're already at 6 subs. I didn't even have to do anything over the last couple of days, and we got 3. And I'm like, all right, I like this streaming thing. I don't have to do anything, and people sub. But yeah, go over to the Twitch channel, follow, sub, do all that stuff. The schedule is on our socials. It's going to be in Discord and all that jazz. So just stay tuned to both of those, and you'll always know when we go live and stuff like that over on twitch.tv. Good stuff. But yeah, we're going to be playing some Sekiro over there. We're going to be playing some Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We're going to be playing whatever game I'm trying to platinum. It's got a lot of fun stuff going on there. So it's going to be emotes, all that fun stuff. But yeah, you can also, if you like what we do here at the show, maybe you don't want to support us on Twitch because, I don't know, you hate looking at my face. You can go over to patreon.com/thereformedgamers and pledge your support over there to get perks like early access to all episodes, behind the scenes, exclusive roles in our Discord server, exclusive channels in our Discord server, and things of that nature. But if you can't support us monetarily, you can support us by going to your podcast app of choice, leaving a rating and review, and actually go over to podchaser.com, make an account, leave a review over there, and let's see if we can get one of the best Christian gaming podcasts in the world to the top of the charts. But yeah, you can do that all over there. Links will be in your show notes. You can have fun with all that stuff over there. But now, 5 years later, I get to say this again. Welcome to the Reformed Gamers, the show all about theology, video games, and anything else we can think of. Let's get into a little bit of what have we been playing. Adam, you handsome, bearded, prodigal son, what have you been getting into, man? It feels like forever, so I'm sure you've played a lot.
The fatted calf has been cooked. The ring has been put on the finger. We got that baby. Right. You know,
that's bananas.
You know, you would think that I've been playing a ton of games, but I have been, literally all over the world. We were in Michigan and Ohio and South Asia, all over the place. But I snuck in some the Vita lives. I'll get to that in a second, but the Vita lives. Literally means life. But yeah, so played some Jedi Fallen Order. I don't even know if I got to talk about this game on the podcast. Maybe just a little bit. I think I just started the game when we did our Game of the Year episode. But I wish I would have finished this game before we recorded the Game of the Year, because it was the Game of the Year. I mean, that game was fantastic. The way that you grow as a Jedi, the way you become more powerful. I mean, by the end of the game, I just felt like a boss. But the boss fights at the end were not necessarily easy, though. I mean, it definitely had a good mix of, good challenge with the bosses. But as you're kind of working throughout the world, some of the characters that gave me more issues at the beginning, I could just push them off of ledges and stuff. So that was usually what I went to. But yeah, that game was fantastic. The last probably 2.5 hours were just, awesome. The storytelling, the Easter eggs, the connections to the old story. I mean, it was fantastic. So I really enjoyed that. And then the spoiler, I guess I'm not going to do the spoiler, but the big character that shows up there at the end was pretty awesome. I couldn't believe Waluigi showed up in a Jedi Fallen Order game, but yeah, it was pretty great, Jedi Fallen Order. So finish that up. We're probably gonna be loading up the old Control. I kind of want to listen to Logan and them's episode, but I don't feel like I should until I play the game. So Logan's gonna be hooking me up with that.
Like I told Micah, I'm not even sure our spoilers would actually spoil anything, because I don't even know if we know what we're talking about. Didn't. We're trying, yeah. but we didn't.
I listened.
So I'm excited to fire that thing up whenever I get that. I'm in no hurry because, again, life's just been kind of crazy. But so in the meantime, while we were doing all that traveling, took the old Switch with me. I'm trying to think, what was the last game that I talked about on the Switch? I don't even remember. I was playing ukulele. So I finished ukulele, and I didn't finish the Impossible Layer. I was playing it, and I'm like, this is kind of impossible. So I watched a playthrough just to see. I kind of sissied out on it. Yeah, I'm a sissy.
I can hear some of our listeners; their hearts are breaking right now, man.
Yeah, it was pretty lame of me. Like, I really only tried it like twice or 3 times. The biggest thing is there was just other things I wanted to play. And I got the game for $10. I felt like I got my money's worth out of it. I didn't feel like just banging my head against the wall to try to finish it. So it was really just a time thing for me more than anything. I really, really enjoy the game, and I can always go back to it. But so I finished it in quotation marks, but didn't really. But I started up the Spyro trilogy on the Switch. So I'm not very far, but that game, man, it looks great on the Switch. It plays good. I'd never played them before, so as a 3D platformer, I really enjoy those type games. So I'm playing that a little bit. Playing some Ni no Kuni on the Switch. If you guys haven't heard me talk enough about Ni no Kuni, it's back, baby. We talk about it some more. The game is still fantastic.
So lovely.
I'm trying to play it a little bit differently. I'm trying to. The way I finished it originally, the first time I played, is I was kind of cheating the system with some of the fights. Like, I found that if you die, whoever defeated you, all the enemies up to that point were still dead. So I would fight somebody. I didn't have enough money or anything to have all the potions, spend everything, and just go kind of one battle at a time, which was really cheap. But I'm trying to stay appropriately leveled so I don't feel like – there was a lot of times I felt like I was under-leveled the first time I played it. But kind of slow rolling it, not in any hurry, mixing that and Spyro up together. But the game I played when I was doing most of my travel international, I'm like, I don't take my Switch. What if something happens? I'll take my Vita. I'm at a point where if I lose this thing, if it dies, so be it, right? So I was looking, I'm like, what games do I want to play? The sad part is nothing was sticking out. I'm like, there's nothing I really want to play on this anymore. I want to take my Switch, but I booted up Shovel Knight, because I didn't really play any of the DLC, so I was like, I'll try out Plague Knight, and it was all right. I don't think it was as good as the original, But it definitely, I think it had its challenges. It might have been more hard just with the way that he threw his potions and all that. But I don't know. I got 3 or 4 boss battles in, and then really was like, it just wasn't grabbing me. I don't know if it's because of the travel and trying to kind of be in the moment, or just not really enjoying it that much. So you didn't play too much on the Vita, but I think it's time that I set the Vita on its boat, set it out to sail.
No!
Let it go to the place where Vitas go to rest forever.
Oh.
I just don't know,
time.
man. If it's not remote play, I don't know. I don't see anything drawing me back right now. I just don't have any games that are really like, I want to play that more than anything on my Switch. So remote play is still an option. But other than that, it's kind of, the Vita is dead. Long live the Switch.
Yep. Glad you are finally on the Vita plateau. Not the Vita plateau, the Switch plateau. Words are hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right. Well, Skinner, man, you're up to bat. What have you been playing?
Pain. I'm in physical pain right now.
Yeah, you'll be all right. Just walk it off.
Right. Well, I can't.
I'm not selling it. I'm not Logan. I don't plan on selling it.
Okay. All right. That's better.
Hey, I'm still kind of clinging to Vita Island a little bit with my PlayStation TV. So
there you go.
That's where I'm at.
Well, thanks to y'all, I'm now finally getting to catch up on 6 years of backlog. So
it's about time.
I know, right?
That's what we do, man.
Been streaming that infamous Second Son, which we're going for the plat on that one.
Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy.
Oh yeah. I'm going to get at least 2 plats this year.
Yes.
And that's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be The Witness. I am going to plat that.
That still blows my mind. That's wild.
I have 1 trophy. All I have left to do is to complete the basically the gauntlet of it's a whole bunch of those different puzzles in a row. I've gotten down to where I only had 1 puzzle left to do, 1 pillar, and I would have been done and had that. So it's super close. I can feel it. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. And but back to Second Son. I mean, that was just more loveliness of that series. Like,
it's good stuff.
Hey, that series was great. How would you like to do some more in there? Yes, please. Yes, please. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, Adam, if that Jedi Fallen Order doesn't have a home, it could join my collection.
Okay. We'll talk.
Just saying. And then the other thing I've been playing, which was kind of the big TRG push this past weekend, was the streaming Skyrim for in Bob's memory. And it was the first time I'd ever booted Skyrim up. I had never played it, which was interesting considering what it is. It's kind of like right there in my wheelhouse. But I had never played it, and I had some fun, and had some trolls come in and troll me, which is appropriate since I return the favor whenever I get the chance. So anyway, good times on that, and I'm looking forward to God of War, Spider-Man, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, I've just got so many great games ahead of me. It's awesome.
It's good, man. I'm excited for you. A lot of good games on there. I love how, you're doing good on your backlog, and then me and Adam were like, here's a PS4, enjoy.
Yeah, it's like,
wreck that backlog.
I'm about to take it back if God of War isn't played sometime soon, though.
My brother's saying the same thing.
I said, give it back. This is why Skinner can't have nice things.
It's true.
He's over there playing the Witness and
I started it.
Infamous, when the best game of the generation is sitting over there building dust.
Yeah, Spider-Man, I hear you. I know. He's really got to play Spider-Man.
I'm talking about Fishing World Sim Tour.
Dude, I would totally play that. I would totally play it.
We'll go
I'm
fishing
not even
together.
joking.
That's awesome.
In fact, I think I looked it up and I was like the DLC was on sale, but it wasn't. I almost picked it up.
I think it's on sale right now on PSN.
That game has DLC?
Well, yeah.
Oh, man, it's got a ton of DLC.
Oh, my
It's got different lakes that you can download, different fish types. It's unlimited. You name a
That's
lake, they're
wild.
trying to get it on there to get $5 more out of you. And it ain't cheap. The DLC is not cheap, or I might have bought some.
That's
I wonder
wild.
if it has my local lake, because there's a lot of bass tournaments in Darbone.
Maybe.
I don't know.
You have to go look it up.
Check it
Have
out.
to go
Yeah.
look it up. But dear listeners, as far as what I've been playing, I got sucked back into Overwatch, and so I'm playing that on both Switch and PS4, but primarily on the Switch because of the whole lunar event that's going on. I don't really have much to say about it. It's still fun. It's still cool. I like the whole role queue system that you have on there, where you get to pick what kind of role that you're going to play, whether it's tank, support, or damage. And I don't have anything to say about it. It's fun. If you're playing on Switch, let me know and we'll play as well. I'm also working on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I have pretty much all the trophies in that game except for beating the game on veteran and beating the game period. I have every other trophy. And I'm not going to lie, it is probably a perfect trophy list just because there's no online trophies. You can do everything on the easiest level to do the level specific trophies. And it's a blast. The story is probably the best in the series, but I'm not going to lie, it goes to some dark places. I was kind of surprised in a few different scenes. So just so you know, if you haven't played the story mode yet in that game, dear listeners, just steel yourself, because it's you really see kind of the horrors of war in that game. But cool game though. Cool game. Really enjoying it. But the game that I got sucked into probably the most, and this is because I was watching Till Truth over on Twitch stream this game so much, and I was like, man, I want to play this game. This looks kind of cool.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
No. That's what Pastor Dustin was playing the other night. But what Till Truth was playing, I'm sorry, Dustin. He's going to unfollow us and delete my sub. But no, I started playing Eternal, which is this free-to-play card game that you can get for the Switch. You can get it on Steam. And I'm not going to lie, I really, really like it. That's pretty much what I did all day. But it's fun because, and I don't know, I could talk out of thin air here like I know how card games work. I just enjoy it. It's simple enough to where you can pick it up, play it, and have some fun with it. And the tutorial kind of walks you through some of the different cards, how they work, how they combine together, what the core of the gameplay is. And then it has a bunch of different modes where you can keep getting cards to build your decks and all that. So it's not for everybody, but if that's kind of down your alley, dear listener, it's a game you can check out. I had been looking for a good card game to play for a while now. And so after watching Till Truth play Eternal for the last couple of weeks, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna play this game. And so yeah, Eternal's free to play. If you guys want to check it out yourself, the referral code is going to be in your show notes, so you can use that to load the game and try it out for yourself. Like I said, it's on Steam. You can play it on Windows and Mac, and it's also on the Switch. It's also on mobile too. So if you have iOS or Android, you can play it on there. But again, referral code will be in there. That just helps me get some extra stuff, but it also helps you get some extra stuff. Just being transparent there, so it helps you get some extra cards and things like that to help you out in the game. And if you don't like it, it's a free game. You didn't waste any money. You're all set. You are all set. That's enough of what we've been playing, because we gotta talk a little bit about what have we been reading. Adam, man, what you been getting into?
I'm trying. I want to read more this year. I did average out on a book a month last year, which is never bad for me. But I feel like over half that was like the first 4 months of the year while I was still at Cedarville. The last 6 to 8 months were pretty rough reading. So I'm trying to get back into some reading. I'm in multiple books right now. So I've been reading The Color of Compromise by Jamar Tisby. It's probably a hot topic, so I won't go too deep into it. But it's not bad. I mean, it's not an easy read. It's not necessarily comfortable. I don't feel like he's attacking, some people with some of the things he says on Twitter or whatever. But it's pretty historical in a lot of the things that it approaches. So just trying to learn from the historical aspects of the book. Probably a little over halfway into it. So, like I said, I don't want to say it's a good read. It's educational. I mean, to say it's good is to I mean, you're reading some really hard stories at times about how slaves were treated, especially by even Christians. So definitely a challenging educational read, but I've had it for a while. It's been on my eye's been on it, and I got it for, I think it went on sale for like $1.99 or something. So picked it up on Kindle and read a lot of it while I was traveling. So I've been reading that, and then kind of going back to my bread and butter for quiet time Devo. So reading, I've been doing the Bible in like 2 years. I'm not really a Bible in the year guy. I bounce around too much. I get distracted. But I'm in Revelation in what would be the Bible in the year, and I'm like, I need some additional support with that. So going back to the Christ-centered exposition series on Revelation, Danny Aiken did the commentary on it, and it's super timely. We didn't really get into much of some of my travels, and I can't spend, I'm not going to share a ton of the details with it, but with the region of the world I was in, talking about the church, looking at persecution, man, the first 3 chapters of Revelation, along with that commentary, were like right on point. I mean, just talking about the 7 churches, they're good, they're bad, they're ugly, the persecution that some of them were going through, and then the setting that I was in overseas was just awesome. It was almost a divine appointment of when I was reading what I was reading, and so been super encouraged by that devotional and reading more of the. I mean, it's a commentary, but I read it as a devotional, so that's been really good. And then we call them growth groups, but our small group, we're going through a study on First and Second Thessalonians, where basically asking questions of the text. And I was reading through the Christ-centered exposition on First and Second Thessalonians also, and again, just good stuff out of First Thessalonians. The fact that Paul can say to the church there, like, there's no one for us to share with because you guys are doing it so well. I'm like, Lord, let it be said of us. Like, we're up here in the Northeast trying to reach a region for Christ. And, we have big dreams and kind of thinking if the Thessalonians can do it, why not us? Why not us Northeasterners? God's not any different. He was able to reach a region then for the Lord. Why not now? So super encouraged by First Thessalonians last night when we were going through that study. So a lot of good things, trying to read, trying to learn per usual. But yeah, super thankful for what God's doing in my quiet time.
Right on. Skinner, what about you, man? What have you been getting into?
Well, I've been using Keep the Feast, which is like the Bible in a little less than a year. My wife introduced me to it, and it's been really good. So we've been having a lot of good discussions on that. Since we're both reading the same chapters at the same time, we can get together and discuss things, which has really been helpful to grow us both. But one of the things that's really been kind of repeated lately has actually been the Decalogue in Exodus 20 verses 1 through 17. Our church has been doing a sermon series on them, and I think we're up to 25 sermons over the course of the past however many weeks, because we took a break for Advent. But it's been really good because before each sermon, we corporately read God's law together. And it can become a really powerful thing when you've got 200 plus people all saying the same thing and realizing that this is God's word, that this is his moral law that still applies. Plus, now it's on my heart because it's always with me. I remember it now. Like, I can pretty much quote those 17 verses, verbatim.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I mean, it is so awesome. And, my kids have been saying it too. So, I mean, it's like they're learning now what I wish I had learned as a kid. And so it's been great because we've been talking about not just the prohibitions, but also the positive things that we should be doing in response to God's law, where, Okay, so it says do not murder. The negative is, okay, don't murder, don't be angry at people. The positive is to take care of people. If you see someone hurting, to help them. The negative, don't steal. Okay, don't take what doesn't belong to you. The positive of it is to make sure that other people don't steal from them too. It's just one of those things that, it's really easy to identify all the negatives. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. But sometimes it's hard to identify the positives. So that's one of the things, or that's kind of the main thing that I've been in lately, because I'm lame and I'm not, I don't get paid to read books. My job requires that I do like actual labor.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Shade. Doc his pay.
You hear that, pastors?
Skinner, $0.
You hear that, pastors out there? Skinner doesn't think we work.
He thinks we just sit around and read.
He thinks we just read all day.
Just read books, go to schools, visit with children.
Hey, good
listen
sir.
to all their problems.
I made 3 TikToks today. Okay, I did a lot.
I just stare at my computer and think, what email next do I need to send? What email next? I feel like I got like 8 gray hairs in the last week stressing over silly stuff.
I don't even bother with emails. I'm like, if you guys don't text me.
If you don't TikTok me, I'm not responding.
If you don't TikTok me, I ain't going to get it. Leave me alone.
So what are you reading, Logan?
Oh, man. I just told you. I just been making TikTok. No,
right. Yeah. Okay.
TikTok, make it stop.
Oh my gosh. Don't get that stuck in my head. Okay. So what I've been reading, a few things. I'll talk about kind of what I went over with my students recently first, and then I'll read or talk about the other book I've been reading. So we went over Isaiah chapter 40, verses 25 through 31. I'm just going to read verses 28 through 31, just because that's kind of the meat of what I was getting into. And it says, have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And so it's just a good group of verses to just really kind of meditate on and just remind yourself of who God is, how powerful he is, and how really just in control he is, how much knowledge he has. Like I was trying to tell it to my students the other night that, Google knows a lot. You can type in anything you can think of in Google, but that knowledge, that database pales in comparison to what God knows. And I don't think they really understood it. And I don't even know if I fully understand it, but God is that powerful and God is that in control. And it's that same God that sent his son to die for us. And it's just kind of mind blowing when you really stop and think about that. This is who God is. And so it's just good to remind ourselves of that from time to time, because we can lose track of that, especially when we're going through all sorts of different trials and we think that it's all on us. But really, if we go to God, I think we'll get more wisdom and we'll probably be able to sleep a little bit better at night when we actually go to him. And so that's what I was reading. I was trying to convey that to my students recently. And then another book I had been reading, because I'm really one of my big obsessions ever since last February has been trying to understand things like social media, entrepreneurship. I don't even know if I said that word right, but I don't care because I do what I want. But just trying to really understand all those different concepts that work in it. And I think some of our dear listeners can see that at work, especially if you interact with us on social media. Our Twitter has grown quite a bit over the last year, and so has our Facebook page. Instagram is more slowly growing, but our Discord's blowing up. Twitch is starting to grow nicely. YouTube was growing really well last year. And so I've basically been reading a lot of stuff by this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, who goes by Gary V on a lot of his social media stuff. Guy is brilliant. He knows how to use social media wisely. And and he understands what the purpose of social media is. It's not to just use your stuff as a post board for the stuff you're doing. It's a way for you to engage people directly, and it just gives you a lot of opportunities to meet new people, to talk about the things that you're interested in with other people that are interested in with it too. And so I'm reading this book called The Thank You Economy that is all about getting in this mindset of you thinking of your business or whatever it is as a small business in a small town. You know, people are going to talk about your business, and they're going to do it on social media. So the question is, what are they saying? How can you get in there and kind of build some good rapport and build good relationships with people? But yeah, it's cool because it's so simple, but it's kind of mind blowing at the same time. And so it's just given me a lot of good ideas for both the podcast, but also my ministry. And so it's good stuff. I would recommend checking out his stuff, especially if you're on TikTok. You can follow him there, but that's my thing. So that's really what I've been reading is, you know, trying to get my students to go through Isaiah to get thinking about who God is, and reading The Thank You Economy, which is really good. So I would highly recommend that. But let's go ahead. And before we get into the topic of the show, I want to remind y'all that you can rate and review our show on iTunes or your podcast catcher, or you can do it on Podchaser. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you, whichever is easiest for you. Links for those will be in your show notes. But guys, it's weird to think that we have been doing this show for 5 years. We're kind of like old people. Like, we're old in the like eyes of the internet. But what's weird is, you know, usually shows that are kind of old like us, people tend to drop off. But if anything, we're growing. So it's kind of, it's wild to see that after 5 years, we're still here. We're still like growing and building upon different things, and we're meeting new people. You know, some of those new people you guys have heard in the last 2 episodes, and you're going to hear more from other new people we've met throughout the rest of the year. But dude, it's
Lauren.
It's wild. It's what?
I said Lauren.
Lauren?
Yeah, we're going to get her on.
Oh, right. You can't just throw that at me out of nowhere, man. But yeah, we are going to get Lauren. I guess we'll just announce a couple of things we've got coming down the pipeline in the year. But yeah, later this month, Mass Effect episode. Later on in the year, we're going to have Lauren from the Facebook group coming on. I'm trying to get Kanye West on here.
Yay.
Oh,
okay.
Dude, if you get Yeezy, I mean, I'm down for that. I got to be on this one.
I'm just saying, you guys need to spam his Twitter and be like, Kanye, you need to come on this show. You love video games. I don't even know if he loves video games, but let's pretend he loves video games. You know, you got to come on the show, talk about Jesus, and like we'll go over that, you know. But yeah, so that's just a couple things. I've got a couple other things I'm trying to work on, and we'll go. You guys will see. I don't want to lay all the cards out there, but you guys, I think you'll be excited for what we got going on. Working on getting some other streamers on here too.
If you want all the cards, just DM me. I'll give you all the cards.
Nah, Skinner don't have all the cards. But and it's kind of weird to do this because we did a similar thing back in episode 150 of the show, but like 5 years is a big deal. You know, I didn't really think about it until I stopped and was like, man, 5 years, that's a long time. Like, it really is. It's a long time to do that. And especially in our culture here in the States, where people don't even really keep a job for more than a year and a half, maybe 2 years before they move on to something else. But we've been here for 5 years. We've seen a lot, and we've grown a lot. We've learned a lot. And so, I mean, we've played a lot too. It's kind of, probably don't want to know how much we've played because that might be a little embarrassing. We might have to do some repenting. But man, let me get it, Skinner. Let me get it from you, man. Let's start with you because you started off as a listener, and now you're the editor on the show, man. What is that?
Started off as a listener, also.
Yeah, but you're like, but this is okay. True.
Oh, gee, episode 1, baby.
I don't care who goes first. I don't follow the show notes anymore.
We can't go to Skinner first, but let's not act like I've been here the whole time. Now, this is kind of the longest job I've ever had in my life. But you and Jonathan were OG, no doubt. But go ahead, Skinner.
Yeah, let's be real.
Go ahead.
This is so off the rails. This is why I don't follow the show notes, because I like Skinner. Go for it, man. Regale us with what the transition's been like. What it's in some of the stuff you've learned.
It's been bananas. It has been bananas. And for those of you in the Discord, you know what I mean. Man, words are hard. Golly, you wore off on me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I remember when I guess it was about 2.5 years ago when I found y'all. After coming out of the pub, and my wife was like, "Hey, did you know about this?" I was like, "No, what is that?" And so I went back and listened to the backlog as much as I could make through during my drives back and forth to work, and I was like, "Man, this is really fun. This is really fun to listen to," and and then of course I started like sending you like little messages like, "Hey, if you did this, it might sound a little bit better," or like, "Hey, I can't hear Adam when he's talking. What's going on?" And it kind of started like that. And then I started doing my church's sound, and we actually started talking more. I think, I became a patron, the executive producer patron level.
So you can pay your way anywhere in this world.
Apparently. And so because of that, I was in the Discord, and Logan and I started talking quite a bit. And, you found out that I could do audio, and I guess did you check out some of the sermons that I had done audio on, and was that how you decided to give it a go, or were you just like, I need anybody to do this?
A willing soul, and you knew how to work a computer, so we're like, we'll take you.
Right. No, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't listen to anything you had done. I just knew that from the way that, like, the advice that you were giving and some of the language that you were using, not that you were like cussing me out, but like the technical language that you were using, I was like, this guy knows what he's doing, and he seems to really care about the show, because he's shelling out however much money it was at the time for that particular Patreon tier. I think he really cares about this, and I think he's going to want to do a good job. Let's bring him on. I basically Gary V'd the whole you getting on the show thing.
Yeah, I did. I really did care about the show. I really wanted it to do well. I really enjoyed what y'all do, and I felt like it was like all those times that I had been told, "Oh, video games are of the devil. Video games are horrible. Nothing good can come of video games. You can't do anything." And for y'all to be, no, seriously, we're going to game to the glory of God. And we're going to make sure that God is talked about. And when we talk about these video games, we're going to talk about the themes that are in there and how they either coincide or don't coincide with the truth that is the scripture. And so just the way that y'all came at it, I know you consider yourself more generally reformed as opposed to where I am, which
accurate. Yep.
Yeah. I bring us down a whole octave. But yeah, I mean, it was just when you asked, I was like, it took everything I had not to be that little meme where the fat guy is just gleefully clapping. 'Cause I was just super excited. I was like, I finally get to do something that's not just going to be just me and my friends. It's going to be something that I can contribute to, that is going to be bigger than just, my little circle of people that are, right here. And so, I mean, that was amazing. But I did learn a couple of things, like don't overcommit, and
that's
be realistic.
a hard lesson to learn in podcasting.
Yeah. And be realistic quality wise, because actually the sermons that I was doing, I recently got told I was doing too good of a job, and they wanted it to sound more like it was in the sanctuary and not a sound booth, because I had, put my knowledge to use and my programs to use. And I took that really echoey audio and made it sound like they were standing in a room, giving this sermon. And they want it to be more like it's in the sanctuary. So,
yeah, right on. Well, Adam, man, let's switch gears real quick. You tell us, man, because some of the people that have started listening to the show are brand new, so they don't even know. Like, they probably think that you're kind of like the OG wingman co-host, whatever, and so they don't know that you were actually a listener for a while until episode 20 something was when we brought you on.
7 years ago, young pup named Adam moved back from Central Asia and got a PlayStation 4. Yes, he didn't know what to play, so his buddy Logan told him to come join a podcast group. And it was all downhill from there.
Pretty accurate.
No, it was crazy. Like, yeah. Again, we talk about it here and there, but Logan and I lived together when we were in seminary. And so we had kept up with each other here and there. I don't know if he was posting on Facebook or something, but I came back from when I was, living overseas. And for my wedding gift from my from my groomsmen, they got me a PS4. And so, I joined the group and really started listening to the podcast. They started up at the same time as like the Super Best Friends video game sleepover kind of startup. We both started up around the same time. So I started listening to both of them, got in the Facebook group, and it was like video game overload. Like, I was learning about all these games that I'm not learning about them, but I never played all these games. And people are like, dude, you got to play. And I'm like, all right, I'll play some of these old games. And then, I don't know, it was about a year after probably. And Jonathan had twins. And so me and Logan, we never got disconnected, but we definitely got reconnected through the Facebook group in a lot more ways. And I think I came on maybe I filled in once with you. And it was when we were living in me and my wife's first apartment. It was like horrible audio quality. I've had some rough audio quality in our days. Some of those first couple episodes were rough. I had no echo. I had mad echo because of the room I was in. I was in like a Harry Potter room underneath some stairs, and it echoed like crazy. Using just Apple headphones. I was having my sound up too loud so you could hear like the echo from when Logan would talk. It would go through to my mic because I was new to this, so I didn't know what I was doing.
I'm just so glad I wasn't doing audio for those.
Yeah.
I wish you were.
I was listening to, I think it was maybe the Kind of Funny guys. They were talking about, if you're trying to start a podcast, don't be like, oh, I got to buy all this equipment and so on. Because they're like, your first 25 episodes are going to stink anyways. So just start with your bad equipment. And then by the time the good stuff gets there, you maybe will have people who are actually listening to us. And so that's how I felt definitely the first little while that I started recording. So when Jonathan stepped down, Logan asked if I would jump on with him. And I'm like, I love talking about video games. I never would have thought that we'd still be doing it like 4 years later. There's been temptations to, life gets busy, you get tired. I never get really tired of playing video games, but, you don't play as much and you're just like, should I keep doing it? But it's been such a great experience. We talk about it every year. We do one of these episodes, but the community, the support through adoption, just getting to connect with Logan, getting to meet guys like Skinner, Micah, Nate. I can start naming guys left and right. It's been really cool. So I don't want to lose that opportunity because it's hard enough already in this, with my new job, keeping up with Facebook, and I'm horrible about the Discord group. But I know it would just get worse if I stopped doing the podcast completely. And they're like, some people who just started listening are like, who are you? You haven't been on in a month and a half. Like, what are you talking about? We don't even know you.
Like, I thought Pastor Dewston was the co-host.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
he not? Did he not
Everybody's
do the
like,
podcast?
who's this new guy, Adam? But it's been awesome just getting to be a part of it. Some of the connections that have been made, and again, we could share stories of just the words of encouragement that people have sent our way. there's definitely been those temptations to be like, just stop. And even, I know at times our wives would be like, you guys done with this hobby yet? Like, I know you guys enjoy it, but like, is this going to be forever? I'm sure Hannah probably thinks that sometimes, but it's been great. It's been a great ride. I've played games I never would have thought I played. And that's kind of been a lot of the fun thing about the group is, other than meeting people and some of those conversations and things like that, is it's kind of really, I'm a different gamer in a lot of ways, and that's not like a big deal. It's not like me saying like, oh, because of Christ, I'm a different person. It's not like, I don't mean it to sound that deep of, oh, I'm a different gamer because of the group, but I literally play different games than I ever played before I was on the podcast. So it's been fun exploring and playing JRPGs and being like, having my wife being like, why are you playing this game? It's like the worst game you could have ever played.
Why are you still playing Kingdom Hearts?
And then I top it with another game that she hates, and she's like, I thought that was a bad game, but this one's worse. And I'm like, I told her, I'm like, hey, I'm playing, remember that JRPG game that you hated? Yeah, I'm playing it again on Switch. And she's like, awesome. So it's been crazy. Like I said, I've not had a job for as long as I've been on the podcast. Like, I was at Cedarville for 4 years, but I've been doing the podcast now for over 4 years. So it's kind of wild to think that I've been doing this as long as just about anything else consecutively in my life, which is, 5 years is no joke. I tell people that we do a podcast. When you say 5 years, even if no one listened to us, that's a long time to persevere to do anything.
That's
consistently. So, yeah. Let alone just us being consistent with it is quite the feat.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, because obviously I was kind of there when it started.
No one cares about what you think.
All right, how do I mute Skinner on here? Where's that button? I'll just do what I did to you in that Twitch stream that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, please don't.
That's the thing though. 5 years ago, I didn't think I'd still be doing this show in 5 years, because I was just wanting to do a show where we would talk about games from a Christian perspective, because I was tired of reading all the blogs that were saying like games are a waste of time, Christians can't play video games, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you can play games to the glory of God, but the question is, how do you do it when you're in this culture of all these blog articles that say that you shouldn't be doing it because it's a waste of time? That's stupid. And so I wanted to get out there and make something that I would want to listen to myself, because I didn't see any of it at the time when I was looking it up. You can also read some of this stuff on our website, thereformedgamers.com. But to see it really grow over the last couple of years has been mind-blowing to me. And seeing some of the ways that we have been growing, like especially with our social media last year and YouTube and Twitch. And so, I'm learning a lot of different things too when it comes to creating content and streaming and learning social media and interacting with people, networking and meeting some of the different people. It's wild, so for me, it's been cool because I've been able to grow in a lot of ways and learn a lot and meet some people. And that was something that actually Wesley had brought up in the topic of the show. In our Discord channel, he said one of his favorite things of the past 5 years has just been how the community around the show has developed. It started out as a small Facebook group, but now the Facebook group has broke 2,500 members just a couple weeks ago. There's a group of us on Patreon. There's been podcasts that have been inspired by us, and they started doing their own thing, which is totally awesome, because that's part of making a podcast, is that you hope it encourages other people to get out there and do their own thing and stop waiting for someone else's permission. They just go and do it. And he said that's kind of been the biggest impact for him. He said from that, you can see a lot of maturing and a greater focus with the episodes that comes with the experience, practice, and community accountability, which is a really hard thing to achieve in these kind of days. And man, it is, but like, I think it's just the show has grown in so many ways now that to look back at it, it's like it's definitely a God thing. God had put certain people in our way to bring on the show or to learn from, to interact with, and that has just helped us grow and continue to grow. You know, and I don't I don't know what the next 5 years are going to look like, but I'm pumped. You know, if it's anything like the last 5, the next 5 ought to be even better. So really just kind of goes out to all of you dear listeners out there. You know, you guys kind of helped this thing grow. So Skinner, man, I see your hand up. I see that hand.
I got my hand up. Simba.
Who am I looking at?
Simba.
I can't read apparently. Guys, I'm losing it.
Logan, surprise! I am here, and you will leave now.
What the heck?
it's a
How did Arnold get on here?
You talk about 5 years. How you think I not come?
Is that Jackie Chan?
What the?
Jackie, you showing up? Never been on the show before.
Jackie Chan, dude, I'm so glad you're here.
Asian Arnold just showed up. Oh,
I don't know what you're saying. You listen now and understand later.
What's going on?
I can't. I can't.
I can't even right now. All right, so that's been our sappy moment, but man,
before we
dull
transition, one thing I was thinking as you were talking, Logan, was, you know, the multiple iterations of the show. I mean, back in the day, you know, we used to not have What Have You Been Reading. We've always had like What You've Been Playing. We used to do news. We used to do like legit party chat where we would ask questions and like answer them in the group. It's been interesting.
Which side note to party chat, that's been revived on Twitter. So if you're not following us on Twitter, you need to get on there. Every Wednesday we're doing something on there. #TRG party chat. Sorry,
it's just been fun seeing, even if you listen to, again, say the first 25 episodes and then the next 50 and then the next 50, I mean, you're going to find different elements of the show and just the structure of it. And so it's been fun getting feedback. I mean, some of the feedback we got was brutal honesty. Some of it was helpful. Some of it was just hurtful.
Yeah.
But overall, it was always a good thing. And so I think it's made the show better. I think it's helped us to kind of see what people want. I mean, again, we're very niche. We're not going to have 1 million followers or downloads. But, you know, for the community that we serve, we want to listen and give them what they want, or as best as we can do that. So, it's been fun seeing some of those changes and be able to bring, I mean, there was a season where, especially in like bonus episodes, we were going through the patrons and getting them on the show with us. So, and if you even go to look at that, the different guests that we've had throughout the years, I mean, it's been wild, some of the different people, and trying to give other people, you know, some limelight. I mean, Logan's got to do some stuff on other podcasts. I usually let him take lead on that, but you know, for us to pay it forward to some different people. I mean, even if you think of Pastor Dustin, like, we're not like major and he's nothing. I mean, neither of us are have some huge major following, but when we allow our groups to kind of overlap, it's, you know, it's not for one or the other, it's for both. And it's an encouragement to both communities. And so I think that's something unique that you see in our groups is we're just trying to help one another out and encourage one another. And it's fun when we get to do those collaborations in a lot of ways.
For sure. A high tide raises all boats, man. It's cool to be able to collab with some people and kind of get our two audiences together to meet and be like, hey, here's this cool Twitch streamer that kills demons and doom, and here's this other cool youth pastor who's doing some cool resource things for youth pastors, while also talking about Nintendo news from a dad perspective, you know. So it's definitely cool.
And to do a raid, I've never been a part of a Twitch raid the other day, and I was like, what is a raid? And everyone's like, we just go and blow up somebody else's stream. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Like, it's a whole new world. It shows how much I watch on Twitch, but it was fun.
Yeah, but we're breaking into that world. So Adam, man, we'll be raiding a lot more channels, especially Reformed Jedi. So I'm just saying, Reformed Jedi, if you're listening, we're coming for your stream.
Coming
on the party bus. On the party bus. He doesn't play Fortnite. There maybe. Well, I don't know. But so speaking of playing games, in the past 5 years, we've played a lot of games for the show. Like, probably a sinful amount.
Too much.
Because we play a lot. Let's just be honest. We play a lot of games.
Speak for yourself, sir. Speak for yourselves.
Skinner, you still have a couple of years, man. So when you get to 5 years of the show, we'll ask you how many games you played. And when you go, I don't know. Never mind. You're going to be right there with us.
Yeah, I am.
I can't hear any games that he plays.
I will say this, though. I'm going to feel proud and accomplished if Skinner becomes a platinum savant like me here. And he just starts going for platinums like crazy because I'll be like, yes, ambition. It's been accomplished. I've corrupted someone. But we've played a lot of games. And so let's just talk about, before we get into ours, because Alex Castellanos gave us his. Where are you at, buddy? You're in the Discord. There he goes. This is one of his favorite memories of the show, too. We can transition into this, too. But he says he has a lot of memories and favorite moments about the show, but the one he's going to pick out are the post E3 episodes. And he even went and gave us the episode numbers on them: 145, 120, and 95.
Nice.
Dude, he is a true dear listener. A true dear listener. He says reliving all the hype moments and all the disappointments of E3 with you guys is a blast, and I love hearing your opinions on the things that I might have loved or hated about this weird collection of news conferences for our favorite hobby. And he says his favorite video game of the last 5 years has got to be Uncharted 4. It was an end of an era, and I felt the emotional highs and lows while playing that game. And before I keep going, I've got some stuff on Twitter here too. Sorry, people on Facebook. Henshin Dad says his favorite one is Dragon Quest XI because it just continually surprises and impresses him. She'll be held as the standard for what a modern JRPG should do. Adam Clodfelder writes in and says Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Alex Castellanos again hyping up Adam's return here on the show. Sure. And then Chad response was Metal Gear Solid 5. He didn't really love the story as much as he had hoped to, but the gameplay was the best in the series, which I can agree with. That gameplay was super solid. But man, we've played a lot of games, and we've definitely gone over our fair share of E3s with some big disappointments, but also some super hype moments, like with that year that Nintendo gave us 2 Metroid games, and I lost my ever-loving mind.
Yeah,
they gave us one when no one was even watching.
They did, because someone texted me about it, like, dude, are you watching the Treehouse thing? And I'm like, the tree who? What is that? But yeah. So guys, what have been some of your favorite games that we played for the show? Adam, we'll start with you, man. What has been some of your favorite games of the last 5 years?
Well, I mean, I think of some of the games that, like I said earlier, that I wouldn't have played that have produced some good episode content. I think of Persona 4 Golden Vita, that there was some good content there. I think of our episode on God of War with Matt Millsap. Great content there.
Still one of the best episodes we've done, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, I think of just some of our most memorable, thinking back, some of our most memorable episodes, other than, I mean, of course, the one we got to do with our wives. I mean, that's always going to be, I think, special and probably one of the most fun episodes that we ever did.
For sure.
The state of episodes were fun. I mean, those are just fun kind of planning and putting together. The E3 episodes always are a good time. Just kind of the reaction. I think probably the response to that, I don't know, it was 4 years ago maybe, when PlayStation just killed it. I think it was when God of War was revealed. And it was just reveal after reveal after reveal. Like, it was no chill in that E3 presentation. And getting to talk about that one, I mean, that was... It's always fun when you got good stuff to talk about. I mean, when they just make it easy. I'm sorry. It's easy to get on a podcast and just let it flow because you don't have to force anything. So those are some of the kind of the high points that stick out to me as we think about, games, some certain episodes that we got to do. I mean, I think of some of the times that some of our bonus episodes where we just get on and talk about life. I mean, those are always good. I mean, Logan and I, we get on here and we talk about a lot of video games, but we don't always take the time to even catch up about life. And so it's been fun getting to have some of those because there's times where I get to be an encouragement to him. He gets to be an encouragement to me. So definitely a lot of good memories with some of those different things, whether it's games or, what do we used to call it? loot box. Do we call that now? We've had a lot of names for our bonus episode stuff. Patch notes,
Yes,
loot boxes, bonus episodes.
We can't settle on one, man. It's just hard to
it's
pick.
like we get one going. He's like, hey, let's mix up our patron levels again. And I'm like, why?
It's like, why would you do that? And then our patrons are like, we out.
So
no, we're not. We double down.
Double down.
Skinner definitely did. Oh, man. So, Skinner, what about you, man? What are some hype moments for you for the show?
Well, I mean, the selection of episodes that I've been on is quite a bit smaller, just in general. But, I remember the first one that you had me on that I was so pumped to be on, and that was the an E3 preview. And I remember, like, you had contacted me. It was going to be me, and I forget who else was on there. And
probably not
I just
me.
remember,
usually if there was a guest, it's usually because I was.
No, you were out. Yeah. You were
Yeah.
out. In fact, it was forever before you and I were ever actually on the stream together, which was hilarious. But I remember doing like a week worth of research about what was going to be coming up because I wanted to come in informed because, I mean, you've seen my backlog. You've seen my trophy list. I don't necessarily play the games that everybody else is playing. Not that I think I'm better than anyone. It's just that how would my brother put it? I'm cheap. I'm really, really cheap.
I was gonna say you're like an actual adult who doesn't forsake his responsibilities like I do over here trying to get these platinum trophies.
I do have 2 kids and a wife, and I am the sole breadwinner, so that does affect things a little bit.
That does.
But it's not so much the games that I played for the show, but the movies that we decided to go over together that have been really fun.
Detective Pikachu was one.
Mm-hmm. And Ready Player One, which was the big one that took us like a year to finally get nailed down to where we could both record it. But number one has got to be the episodes where we talk doctrine, because it really, to me, it shows that the heart of TRG is not necessarily just gaming. The heart is that we understand that doctrine's important, and especially some of the specific doctrines that we've discussed. And just my memories of that have been really good. And sometimes I like to go back and listen to my own voice, so I'll go and listen to that episode again, and feel good about myself. Hey, I was on something that went to places in the foreign lands. Yay. But in all seriousness, I'd have to say for sure the episodes talking about doctrine have been the highest point for me, because I want to get closer to God, and I want to understand him better. And I think the best way to do that is to have discussions about important topics and actually delve into them, and not just say, well, you don't understand because you don't think like me, and try and figure out why we may think differently. And so that you can better understand how to study the scripture and find out why the reformers were so smart and I'm not.
Right on. I think that's something that's unique about our show, and probably one of my favorite things about it is that, and people have mentioned this too, both on Twitter and other places, is that, we're different in the sense that, we're going to talk about games, but we also are very explicit when it comes to like theology, the Bible, God. Like we don't shy away from it. We don't hide from it. We dive right in. Like we have a whole section where that's literally what we get into, and it's cool for me because, that's what I wanted the show to be when it started. I didn't want us to just talk about games for an hour. I wanted us to like bring our faith like actually into it and how that interacts with what we're doing. And so I think probably my hype moments are like those little sections of the show where we actually get into it, because I think it helps. It shows that you can have fun playing games, but at the same time, you really gotta give time to what's important. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Is that right there? But kind of to switch it up a little bit and kind of go back to the earlier question, because we've played a lot of games, and Adam kind of touched on a few. I'd say for me, it's just kind of been fun to play games like Persona and Metroid and get other people playing those games too. And whether or not you like those games, it doesn't really matter. It's just cool that we're able to talk about those games and to discuss, hey, what do you think about this game? One of the things I like about Persona is that it gets insanely deep with a lot of its philosophy and things like that. And so it's cool to have conversations with people in the group about okay, well, where is this pulling it from? Well, how does this relate to our faith? Is that kind of like cringy, or does that amplify things? Just to get into those kind of conversations. But it's just been fun to play those games. I think my favorite games though have definitely been the Persona games, and of course Metroid Samus Returns. But even just playing something like God of War or Spider-Man, and then getting to talk about it with both people in the community and people from outside of the podcast community has just been a lot of fun. I don't know what my favorite game is. I just enjoy a lot of games. I think you can go on my PlayStation account and look at the games I have platinums on, and that'll tell you which games I enjoyed the most. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to pick just one. But I mean, definitely my highlights are Persona and Metroid. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Hollow Knight was really cool. That was cool to kind of play that along with the community and be like, oh man, this game's amazing. But I think another cool thing, I keep saying I don't know, but then I keep bringing up one. This will be my last one, and then Skinner, I'll hand it back off to you, and then Adam will go back to you. Is playing the Dark Souls games and getting tips from people in the community and being like, yeah, these games are really hard, and I can see why people don't like them, but I kind of like learning them and getting into it. And just, the cool thing about playing the Dark Souls games, especially Sekiro lately with 2-Bit Lane coming in to help me out, is that it's like those moments back in grade school when you're playing a game like Mortal Kombat or Gargoyles or whatever it is, and you're helping each other out. Like you're teaching each other tricks, ways to get better at it, and it's, I don't know, it's cool. It's a remnant of an era that isn't really around anymore, or maybe it is, but it's in a different medium. Anyway, all right. So Adam, I saw your hand up. I think that's Adam because you're Simba in the Zencaster. I can't. Words are hard. Let's go to you, man. What do you got?
No, I was wanting to just add there. I think you hit something on the head for me as you were talking. It allows, the podcast has allowed us, not that we necessarily needed it, but it even, justification is not the right word, but maybe redeemed. It redeemed the hobby that we enjoy even more when we're able to not just take in, but be able to take in, process a little bit, talk about it. And again, even help that for other people. I mean, Skinner hit on that some. You have so many people who, feel guilty about, being an adult that plays video games. They feel like everybody judges them. But you find a place in our community, and we try to redeem that. Like, we don't have to. I mean, if I just played games, that would be okay as long as it, wasn't addicting. But the fact that God, that's not even us, that God can redeem a hobby like playing video games even more through the way that we're trying to use it for dialogue, the way that Logan can use it with his youth, the way that I've, just been an encouragement through different things, whether it's talking about a game or even talking about life, talking about what we're reading. It's a really cool aspect of it that has been good just in regards to, God he's a redeeming God. He wants to redeem all things, even video games. And so it's always fun seeing him use things that we enjoy. If we will allow him, he can use it in a lot of really cool ways. So it's definitely awesome.
Amen. For sure. Skinner, man.
So
Up the bat.
I'm trying to let others speak because I have a real bad problem with talking over, and I apologize for that. But that being said, as you were going over some of the games, I realized what I could have answered with is the games that I've played because of you. You had, let's see, the miasma that was the Final Fantasy overkill that you did.
Yeah, we try not to bring that up. We try not to talk about, as Adam calls it, the dark ages of the podcast.
No doubt.
But that got me interested in some of the other Final Fantasies I hadn't played yet. The biggest one, though, that I fully blame you for, sir, and you should feel ashamed, is Persona. I
have no shame with that. You should be playing that. It's a great game.
And I was about to have stomach surgery is when it got started. And before
you're about to say you're about to have stomach surgery because you played the game.
No.
I'm like, whoa, what?
No. No, it got started was I heard you just kept on about it. And I was like, right before I was going to be laid up from the surgery, I was like, talked to my wife. I was like, hey, can I get a Vita? I want to get this game. I want to play it. I need something to do while I'm going to be laid up. And she agreed. I had to sell off my my poor Nintendo piano that I had to pay for it. But I now still have that Vita. But yeah, Persona 4, the Golden, Dancing All Night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I blame you. I'm going to play 5 eventually. As I work through this backlog, but I have very limited amounts of times with which to play, and I try not to be up too late. And hopefully, you won't hear my wife snickering in the background when I say that. Because of y'all, I've been open to other games that I would never have even tried Fortnite. If not for you being like, hey, why don't you come on? We'll stream it. It'll be fun. And
I remember when we played some Fortnite. It was quite the event.
Oh yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
Yeah, and I was so bad. It was horrible how bad I was. Except for that one time when everybody else was dead, I was still alive because I knew how to hide.
Oh man, Skinner, you were something at Fortnite, no doubt.
I warned y'all ahead of time. I don't play FPS games. That's not my cup of tea. And then you saw just how bad I really was at it. Plus I've been console gaming for quite some time now. It's been a while since I'd done anything, PC wise other than WoW. And that's just not the same. It's just not the same. But so that's a couple of the games that I've played because of y'all. I really want to try Ukulele since you talked it up
Let's
so
go.
much, and Ori and the Blind Forest. I want to try that out.
That's a good one.
A lot of these games, Ni no Kuni, that's the ultimate. My kids have played that game now with me through that because of y'all. I would never have even picked it up. I wouldn't even have thought about it. But y'all kept talking it up about how awesome it was. So,
What a gem. What a gem.
I want
of
to
a
say
game.
it was.
Let's just give it. What a gem.
It
What a
really
gem.
is. It is. And, we love my house is a household of anime. That's what we do. And, to find a game that one was a JRPG, which I've been a fan of them for a long time, but to find one that was, so beautifully drawn by Studio Ghibli, which is one of the studios that I enjoy. And then the last game, Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
I had to get an original Super Nintendo because this was before the SNES Classic came out, just so I could play it. And it's your fault, Logan. It's your fault.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. My kids played that one with me too. Yeah. Their first 2 games were JRPGs. Their third game was Myst, the point and click classic from the 90s that ended up being the reason why CD-ROMs became a big thing. So, you know, I'm training them right. I'm making them go through the old school stuff.
Yeah.
They're playing original Super Mario Kart.
Kids today can't even play that game, man. I tried to play with college students, and you would have thought I was putting them in a torture chamber. They couldn't drive worth. I mean, they were going into walls. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. These were like gamers, and you would have thought I was playing the hardest game. You would have thought I had the controls backwards.
Controls are hard, man. They're hard.
That's like drifting right there. You play the original Mario Kart, you're like drifting hardcore every turn.
Indeed. Well, what about
True
you?
story.
What about y'all? You got anything left in the tank?
I mean,
you mentioning Super Mario RPG reminded me that I played through Super Metroid on our YouTube channel for the first time and beat it for the first time last year. That was a big moment in my life. I'm the self-proclaimed biggest Metroid fan in the group, and yet I've never beaten Super Metroid until last year. So that was quite the achievement. It was quite the achievement. But Adam, what about you, man? Anything else you can think of?
Metal Gear Solid, that was I don't know if I was on the podcast at that point, but it was definitely within the community.
No, you were. Yeah. No, we were both on the podcast because you had gotten a PS3 and I got one, and then we were talking about it.
That was definitely fun.
On the show.
I mean, again, the story is about as convoluted and crazy as it's not quite as crazy as Kingdom Hearts, but you know. But I mean, that was kind of fun, kind of talking through and playing through those games. I mean, busting out a PS3. I never owned a PS3 before the podcast. Never thought I would. And then just, again, people recommend all these games. I'm like, man, I got to get one of these systems to play some of these old school games. And so I played that, playing through Eco and then Shadow of the Colossus. Just some other, I mean, I never played the new Shadow of the Colossus because I played the OG one on PS3. So, I mean, I just think through some of those old school, I mean, getting a Nintendo 3DS, playing through the Zelda games. I usually mention those when we get on here. I mean, games that, you know, I was a gamer, but it was Call of Duty and sports. And then getting on the podcast and being like, okay, I got to play some of these games that everybody's telling me about. So playing through the Zeldas on the 3DS, playing through, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles, I don't remember if that was before or after Persona 5, but one of the first like real beefy JRPGs that I really got into. There's either that or Persona. And so, I mean, games that a lot of fun memory. And I'm super excited. That's another, again, if you follow the podcast for a while, I don't play many games more than once nowadays because ain't nobody got time for it.
Preach.
But like the games I've gone back to, Ni no Kuni JRPG, which is kind of crazy. I'll go when Xenoblade Chronicles comes out on the Switch. There's no doubt I'm picking it up. It's really interesting seeing the games that I'm like, I definitely don't got time for them because they're like 100-hour games, some of them. But there's a lot of fond memories with the music, and they're just chill. So it's been cool seeing what games have really grabbed me to want to get back into them.
For sure. Oh man, it's like I said, you know, we kind of come to a close on this episode here. I think it was kind of really weird, you know, because I went back and listened to a couple of our older episodes not too long ago, and it's also weird to just have this time capsule sort of thing, you know, to go back and listen to. You know, like when I was graduating seminary, or like Adam, when you were doing the adoption stuff, or just a variety of things to just go back to. And it's cool, you know, and I'm glad that this show has had a good impact on a lot of people and how it's brought people together. But ultimately what it's done is point us to God and consider how we can redeem our time spent with video games, how we can redeem that for Him. But I think what's cool is that in that way, it's helped people stay focused. You know, it's helped people put things in the right perspective. It's helped people maintain their priorities and things of that nature. And I don't say all that like I'm pulling stuff out of the air. We've gotten messages from people that have said those things. And so I look forward to continuing that. I look forward to meeting new people, bringing them on the show, and just keep pointing people back to Christ, just keep reminding people of that,
We interrupt this episode with breaking news. The Reformed Gamers, in honor of over 5 years on air, have decided to give 5 lucky dear listeners a $10 gift card. Usable on the following platforms: Steam, Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation. I am being told that to win, you must DM at TRG Podcast on Twitter or Logan on the Discord with the following phrase: drink your Ovaltine, and your preferred platform. I repeat, the secret message you must send is drink your Ovaltine. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program already in progress.
Contest open only to residents of the U.S. 1 entry per person. For official rules, rewind and re-listen to slow this down. Do so in your podcast app. Good luck and Godspeed.
And then I was like, can you put extra mayonnaise on it at least?
Oh, man. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Can you put
it was a weird visit to the doctor's office, let me tell you that.
I bet that's not something you would like expect to hear. But everything's okay though, right? Everything's working out.
Tasty.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and I can't, man. I feel like I've just been a mess this episode. I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. Anyway, dear listeners, thank you for checking out this episode. But as always, we've got some recos for you. We're going to hand it off to my boy Adam here, the prodigal son who has returned. Man, what are some things that our dear listeners should check out?
I watched a lot of stuff when you have a 10-hour flight, a 4-hour layover, a 7-hour flight twice, there and back.
Ugh.
And so I watched a lot of stuff. I have some stuff I wouldn't recommend. There's for sure on that. I stopped. And one of them is one of Skinner's recommendations, so it's kind of funny. But we'll get to that here in a second. But I watched a movie that it won some awards, and I was like, it took me, I was enjoying it, but I'm like, why is this movie winning an award? And then I got to the ending of it, and it was fantastic. The ending was so good. It didn't go, I thought it was going to go one direction, and it was building up, and then it went a total opposite direction. And I was like literally laughing out loud. I was grinning from ear to ear. I thought it was like the ending was just excellent. And that movie was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's got Leo and Brad Pitt in it. And Brad Pitt won, I think, an Academy Award for supporting actor, and he crushed it. I don't know much about acting, but I could tell as I was watching this, I was like, man, Brad Pitt is killing this supporting actor role. And so, like I said, the ending was just, it was so good. And it's got language and some violence at some points here and there, which you wouldn't really think from this movie. But there's no nudity or really inappropriate content. Well, at least on my airplane version. So I can only speak to that one. I think if there's bad stuff in airplane versions, they cut it out because you don't know who's watching it. So I guess you should take that with a grain of salt, because I watched a somewhat edited version of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So if you watch it and something pops up, I'm sorry. But yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. So that'd be something I would recommend.
Right on. Skinner, you're up, man.
Well, now I got to go remind myself to go to Common Sense Media, check it out, and see if I have to have another episode of Dear Ear Protective Services. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm not going to do my first one. I'm going to let you do that, Logan.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, bruh, and you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
For like I said earlier, I'm an anime geek. Right now we're watching, because it's releasing on Crunchy or Verve, My Hero Academia, 4th season. Oh, it's so good. Oh, my boy All Might and Deku, and just such, man. The last episode was just it was epic. So if you haven't watched My Hero Academia, it's got language whether you do it in Japanese or dubbed, but it just seems less jarring in the Japanese.
Mhm.
Like you can almost read past it. But I mean, and the dub's got Chris All-Might. I mean, it's Piccolo as All Might. I can't help it. I love it. So there's that. Adam, I see we're going to have a little bit of a discrepancy here about the Ni no Kuni movie, because I thought it was dope.
Yikes.
Dude, the notes. I just saw the notes on it.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not taking my opinion on any type of anime is. So I downloaded this on my phone to watch it on the flight home from where I was in South Asia, because I'm like, there's no way my wife would let me even turn this on our television. So I'm like, I'll watch it on the flight. And anime, I can play them, through like the Ni no Kuni games, Studio Ghibli. I like the art style and I can play it, but it was just too much for me. I'm like, I can't.
You hurt my heart, sir. You hurt my heart, because the story just ended up being really good, and the ending was great.
Yeah, I tried.
I mean, it was. It was kind of similar to the whole dual force thing that they tried to pull off in the latest Star Wars. Only this actually worked, so there was that. And my last one is actually me stepping into full Wah Adam mode. And this is a special message for the people over at Retro Rewind.
Oh, boy.
Specifically Francisco.
Uh-oh.
Which, if you haven't tried saying that name, Francisco, it's just fun to say. Francisco. Everyone needs to go over to his stream the next time he streams and just ask him if everything is moist. And
what?
I'm serious, and just say, that was a really moist move you pulled there. And I'm telling you, the results are worth it. They just are. So that's my reco. Go to Retro Rewind, check out their stream, and tell Francisco he needs to quit playing so moist.
All right. I'll do it. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm really nervous to do that. Anyway, all right. So as far as my recos go, go play Eternal. Like I said, it's a free game. You can download it to your phone, Steam, your Switch. Give it a go. See what you think. If I can remember, I realized this when I did after doing the bonus episode with Micah. I didn't put any of the videos that we use as research in the show notes. So if I remember to put the referral code in there, you can use that to download the game and check it out. And then I think it just automatically adds you to my friends list so we can play together. Don't worry. I still don't really know what I'm doing. So I think we'll be on even ground. The other thing I'll recommend to you as well is Dr. Stone is an anime that I actually just started getting into. And I got to say, here's the thing that I love about a good protagonist is when they're wicked smart and they know how to use that wisely and they're not stupid. The main character of Dr. Stone is brilliant. And some of the stuff that he pulls off, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching Death Note again, where like Light's pulling off some super smart chess kind of moves, but in life. And I'm like, that is what I want in a show where it makes me think, catches me off guard. And Dr. Stone does that. And it's a lot of
10 billion %.
Hey, get excited, right? But yeah, so the people aren't going to know that get excited is a thing unless you watch it. But go watch it. Yeah, you can watch it on Funimation, Verve, all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really interesting premise. To give you guys a brief idea, basically what happens one day, this green wave goes out. Every human gets turned into stone. 3,000 years later, some people start breaking out of their stone shells, and then they have to basically rebuild society. And so it's cool. A lot of cool stuff going on there. A lot of good animation, a lot of good action, a lot of good just overall things to make you think. So yeah, that is Dr. Stone that I will recommend to you guys to check out. But yeah, dear listeners, again, thank you for checking out the Reform Gamers. If you'd like to support us on the show here, if you'd like to support the things we do, you can go over to patreon.com and pledge your support there. So pledges as low as $1 a month go a long way in helping us continue what we do here on the show, and it gets you some sweet perks like early access to all episodes, behind-the-scenes content, and more. That's at patreon.com/The Reform Gamers. You can also follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Reform Gamers. I'm going to be streaming. Let me see. This comes out on a Monday. I will be streaming Monday night at 8:30 p.m., Lord willing, Central Time, Christian Standard Time. Yeah, you can go check that out, twitch.tv/The Reform Gamers. You can also go to the website, thereformgamers.com, for things like show notes, articles, reviews. I put up an article recently about how to make online trophies better in 2020. And you can also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/TRG Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Reform Gamers, Instagram.com/The Reform Gamers, TikTok.com/ I'm kidding. We don't have a TikTok. Haven't gone there just yet.
I resign. I'm done. That's it. I'm out.
But no, dear listeners, all that stuff will be in your show notes, so you can get to it pretty easily as well. But yeah, dear listeners, thank you for helping us get to 5 years of TRG. Soli Deo Gloria, and here's to another 5 years. GG and amen. Thank you for listening to The Reform Gamers, the show all about biblical theology and gaming. The reason the show sounds so good inside your ears is because TRG is edited by David Skinner. You can find extra content on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Reform Gamers. The Reform Gamers is entirely fan-supported over at patreon.com/The Reform Gamers by our dear patrons. The following people are at the producer level or higher and will forever be thanked and mentioned here at the end of the show, as long as their pledge comes through each month. Those people are Alex Castellanos, David Matthews, Eric Bryant, Gareth Evans, Luke Strain, and Wesley Ray. Thank you for your support over on patreon.com, keeping our controllers charged, and fueling my addictive habit of getting platinum trophies. Until next time, GG and amen.